Hey everyone, welcome to the Wilson Homestead. I'm Sheena. On today's episode, I just want to take you on a tour around the yard and show you what plants are coming up, and also we just planted some new trees and a couple new grapevines, and I want to show you where we planted them. So let's go out in the yard and see what's going on. Alright, these are the Barlow Mix columbine seeds that we winter sowed. And I just sowed them in this milk jug, and I left them on my porch throughout the cold weather and everything. And as you can see, when we look inside, I have a bunch of baby columbines coming up. I'm just going to leave them in here until they get like 2 sets of true leaves, and then I'm going to transplant them. And also, I sowed some other things in these little strawberry containers. These are really handy for like little greenhouses. So always recycle stuff like this if you can. But I've got some Jupiter's Beard coming up in this one. And in this one over here, I have some Echinacea coming up right there. And some Agastache. I think that's how you say it. But I've got one of them coming up right there. So I just had a birthday, and my husband bought me these new urn planters. And I can't wait to plant them up. Aren't those gorgeous? This is the raised bed that my husband bought for me. And we finally got it filled up yesterday. And I'm going to be planting some stuff out here soon. The plan for this bed is I'm going to have some herbs and some lettuce and some things like that. And eventually I want to build a cover for it so I can grow some in the winter time too. Extend the season a little bit. But I'll bring you along whenever I plant this up. Okay, so yesterday I got all of my garlic plants mulched. This is elephant garlic and Italian garlic, and it's all coming along really nice. So this is the bed that I usually plant herbs in, and it's like really a mess right now. But I noticed yesterday that I have chives coming up. They're getting ready to bloom. And also, I'm pretty sure that this is all oregano. I planted it one time and it comes back every year. So this is the, I don't know what my directions. What direction is this? I think this is the south side. This is the south side of my property, and we have some close neighbors, so I wanted to plant something to give us a little bit of privacy when we're outside a lot. So I got these. These are Salix willows, and they grow so fast. We cut them down every 2 years, clear to the ground, and that just makes them bush out even more. But they're really beautiful. They got really beautiful foliage on them, and you can actually use the whips, the willow whips, to like weave baskets, or you can let them get thicker and you can like build trellises and stuff out of them. So it's a really useful plant. But I have a whole line of them down this side of the property. So this is our grape arbor. It is just an old set of monkey bars. And the grapes on here are Concord grapes. When we bought them, We ordered them out of one of those seed catalogs that you get every spring. And they were supposed to be green seedless grapes, but it turns out that they are Concord grapes. But that's okay because they make really awesome jelly. And I'll bring you along whenever I make jelly this year. Last year I didn't get any of them because the birds ate all of them. But hopefully this year I'll get out here and pick them soon enough so the birds don't eat them. Again with the old monkey bars. We like to upcycle things here. Nothing goes to waste. So this is what my big perennial bed looks like right now. I haven't cleaned it out or anything yet, so there's still a bunch of leaves in there. But I have columbine coming back, and this is a hydrangea. I'm not sure what variety it is. A ton of irises. The irises are starting to get buds on them. I have a daffodil blooming right here. And you know, they say that deer will not eat daffodils. But let me tell you, they will eat daffodils. You can see that the tops of these have been chewed off. This is a bumblebee primrose. It's just now starting to put out blooms. This is a sand cherry bush that I bought last year. And you can see it's starting to leaf out. I love that red color. It contrasts real nice, like with the green stuff that I have in here. It just looks awesome. This is our nectarine tree. And as you can see, it is blooming. I have several different varieties of daylily. This is an astilbe. I think this is a purple one. Geranium. Crane's bill. This isn't like the annual geraniums. This is a perennial geranium. Annual geraniums are actually pelargoniums. This is another astilbe. This one's pink. And last year in the fall, I planted this blaze rose. And as you can see, it's starting to come to life. This, I love this plant. This is a heuchera. I believe the variety is Purple Palace. But again, it adds some contrast with this foliage color. Really nice. And right next to it, I have a blue fescue grass. This is purple echinacea, also known as coneflower. It's starting to come up, but something is like eating the heck out of those leaves. I don't remember what this plant is, but I bought it last year. I think it might be a barberry. But see how nice the contrast is? Whenever you have different foliage colors, it makes it look really interesting. With the red against the green. I just bought this plant in the fall. It is a white Gila, and as you can see, it did make it through. It's getting leaves on it. I cannot wait to see this one bloom. This is another perennial geranium, and the color on this one's leaves is amazing. I love that. Isn't that gorgeous? And then right next to it, I have a rose. It's like a peachy, salmony colored rose. And this plant actually came from, I think it was like 2 years ago. My husband bought me roses for my birthday. And so right away I took like 3 of the roses and I cut off the blooms and took some cuttings that were, I'd say about 5 inches long, and I put them in potting mix, and then I put a dome over them, and one of them took. So now I have a rose bush from my birthday. This is a butterfly bush, also known as Buddleia, and it's coming back. These get really super tall, super fast. And once they bloom, you're going to want to deadhead them after the blooms are spent, or they will seed everywhere. But I grow them anyway because they are so beautiful and they bring the butterflies in like crazy. I have a lot of awesome pictures from last year from this bush. This is sneezeweed, also known as helenium. It's a really nice plant to have. It gives a lot of color, and if you deadhead it, it'll bloom for a really long time. This is one of the apple trees that we just planted. This is a Golden Delicious, and it is starting to bloom. This is our second new apple tree, and this one is a pink lady. We kind of have a mess going on over here. We had to have this humongous poplar tree cut down. It died, unfortunately, and I want to do something in this area, something pretty. I'll probably put a huge pot on top of that stump and kind of do some landscaping around the edge of it. But I have to wait until my husband clears out all of this firewood. Like I said, nothing goes to waste around here. We have an outdoor furnace that heats our house, so all of this will be firewood. This is a pear tree. It's a Bartlett pear, and this is also brand new. We got all 4 of these trees from Lowe's that I'm talking about today. We put burlap around the bottom because over in this area a couple years ago we planted some apple trees, and borers got inside of them and killed them. So the burlap is supposed to prevent the beetles from laying the eggs near the tree, so that way hopefully it doesn't happen again. And there's another one right up here. This is also a pear tree. It's an Ayers pear. These are all semi-dwarf trees. We didn't want something that was going to get absolutely huge. I also planted 2 Hemrod grapes. They're a green seedless grape. And this one, I just noticed today, has some growth on it. But the plan for this area, this is right alongside of our driveway. And what we want to do is we want to run a fence, a split rail fence down the side of it, and grow grapes on it. And I'm probably going to get like some blueberries and some raspberries to grow along it too. So it might take us a while, but that's the plan. So this is my backyard, and this is the boulder garden for obvious reasons. I don't have a whole lot planted in here yet. This is kind of a new area that I've been working on. But I do have a clematis, Nellie Moser, and I'd like to get her to climb all the way up this boulder. And as you can see, it has buds all over it. And when it blooms, it's a white bloom with pink stripes on it. It's really beautiful. I also planted one of the sand cherries up here so we can have that red background. This is newly transplanted. I hope it makes it. It's leafing out some. This is an azalea bush. And I have a few irises scattered out throughout this garden. And another sand cherry right there. And then I have a few perennial hibiscus, hardy hibiscus. And I always think that they died over the winter because they're the last thing that comes out in the spring. So I have this awesome tree stump right in the middle of this boulder garden and this vine. I told my husband just to leave them in there because they add interest. But I did have him to cut off this stump so it was level, and I put a pot up on top of it. I had some osteospermum daisies in here last year, but of course they bit the dust. But I also had creeping Jenny, and it's coming back. So I'll probably transplant this and redo this whole pot. This is also an azalea. We just transplanted it, but I'm not seeing any signs of life on it, so it might not make it. More irises next to it. And then I have this awesome windmill that my husband bought for me. It actually has a little light on top of it that lights up at night. Okay, so now we're going to go up to the barn for a little bit. One of Lexi's horses is having some digestive issues, so I'm going to take you up there and she can walk you through what she does for her horses. That's her area. I kind of try to stay out of it because they kind of scare me a little bit. But let's go to the barn and check it out.
One of our horses has the beginning stages of colic, so we're giving her gas pills and mineral oil to prevent it from happening.
Preston County and surrounding areas with this country right here 1067 King Country. Well, the Relay for Life of Preston County would like to invite cancer survivors and caregivers to the annual Survivor Dinner. Now, this will be held on May 20th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the Creek Civic Center right here in Kingwood. Now, if you are a survivor or a caregiver and would like to attend, please contact them on Facebook, or you can call Jocelyn Reitnauer. Now, the number is 304-435-4738. Now, that number once again is 304-435-4738 in order to get registered, and you must be registered by May 4th. This has been a Country Note on 96.7 Gay Country.
Get ready to ride. Get parts for your motorcycle, ATV, or UTV from Outlaw Motorsports. Outlaw Motorsports specializes in parts and accessories for motorcycles, ATVs, and UTVs. Whether it's tires, an oil change, or a major makeover, Outlaw can supply you with all the parts you need. They carry a large inventory of parts, tires, and riding apparel. So call Outlaw Motorsports for all your parts needs at 304-284-0480. Outlaw Motorsports, Route 7, Charles Love.
Think we should do more?
There's just a little bit left in there.
I still have more in that thing over there.
I would say maybe do a little later.
Did you tell her the naked driver incident was a momentary misunderstanding? Yes, sir, but did you tell her it's our meats that are going on natural, not our drivers? Yes, sir, that's not... Did you tell her Jimmy John's is committed to serving sandwiches full of the finest all-natural ham, roast beef, salami, bacon, and real fresh turkey breast? Yes, sir, I did, sir. So she wants to photograph our sandwiches? No, sir. Actually, she wants to do a calendar. Or what? A calendar.
Lexi, for everybody that doesn't know, what does colic mean?
It means that that's awkward. It means that they can't poop and they can't throw things out, so it's just stuck.
Their technology finds great candidates.
And
80% of employers who post a
The
job
mineral oil
get a quality candidate to the site in just one
makes
day.
them poop.
Goodbye, Post and Pray. Hello,
It just moves things right along, so that way their digestive tract gets going and they don't get a bellyache.
Legend Auto Center, a full-service center in Hazel. Legend Auto Center Trucks.
Abolitious. You don't want your picture taken? Huh? Abby. Oh yeah, there's that nice little face. Alright everybody, that just about wraps up this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time here on the Wilson Homestead. Bye guys.